Absolute Bedlam. Absolute Bedlam. Absolute Bedlam. Talking about topics and stuff. Absolute Bedlam. Absolute Bedlam. Absolute Bedlam Podcast. Who? What? Where? Why? Good evening and welcome to Absolute Bedlam Podcast. Not sure if I'm going to start with hello or good evening anymore. Let me know which one you prefer, I suppose, if you're that. Anyway, we have tonight on the show a real life rock star. We have Dan Leigh, who has been around the music scene for a significant period of time. I've always watched him from the shadows, New Device, Jordan Red, and lots of solo stuff. So Dan,
sounds a bit threatening when you say it like that.
There we go. How on earth are you, Dan? Are you well?
I'm doing very well, actually. Yeah, I'm doing really, really well. So, how are you, man? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm a little bit overwhelmed in terms of just when you get home from work at 5 p.m., just the amount of stuff that you have to do to prepare for something like this.
Yeah.
I needed to have a shower and feed myself because, life. And then you have to set these Zooms up and send the links over. And this is a real peek behind the curtain for anyone that's bothered to sort of care about me.
Well, I've had to rejig my whole this is my sat down podcast / online talk through sort of setup, not my performance setup. So I've had to grab everything and shift everything over in the space of 3 minutes. So yeah, I know what
you've done a fantastic job. So you strike me as someone that is conscious of the physical world and the virtual world in terms of you like your live streams, don't you? And you've got a Twitch presence, and you also try and gig as much as physically possible from what I can see from the shadows, like I say. So you've got an awareness of both of those worlds, and sort of how do you navigate those? How do you decide which one you're going to do first, I suppose?
I think Twitch was a relatively new platform for us, myself and my team, just because, and it really came about because Facebook started to threaten performers.
Yeah,
because they were saying, like, if you're going to perform on here, you're out, and everyone was like, okay, well, Twitch is better for sound, Twitch is better for the visual as well, and they don't compress everything so much. So I mean, it really, every one of them's got their merits online. So I think today the difficulty is about seeing whether or not you can spread yourself out far enough on each different platform, and that's and I think for me, Facebook has worked very, very well. Everyone goes, oh, Facebook's for old people. Facebook, no one uses Facebook anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's been very good for me. It's been very good, over the years, and I've sort of grown with it. Twitch, I do like Twitch, and I like the community. I like the actual culture of it as well.
Yeah.
Because they really respect content creators on there, whereas Facebook is not. They're sort of catching up a bit. They've got a long way to go, really.
Yeah.
But and then there's and people keep throwing me tons of other things to go on. I mean, TikTok. I don't really understand TikTok that much, and
completely out of the loop with that.
I mean, I was never into Snapchat or anything like that.
Same.
So I don't know. I feel that I'm sort of being left behind.
Yeah, I get you.
And, but I do like to be out in front of people, but Facebook has been great for me to be able to play in front of people all around the world. So
you got that global sort of reach and exposure, whereas if you play a gig, you're kind of geographically locked to who's available at that time.
Yeah, and I think that is the beauty of. I say it all the time, what a time to be alive, and it really is just an amazing time to be alive.
Yeah.
In the sense that we can just reach out to people in many different time zones, and I could go to one town over, and I'd be Captain Nobody over there.
Yeah.
Yet, but then people are like, but people know you from all around the world. I'm like, yeah, but that's the difference between being an independent musician and being someone who's got the ear of the mainstream, which is
Yeah.
very, very different.
But yeah, I look at my Anchor sort of Spotify stats now and then on this, and let's have a quick look now. Actually, let's have a peek behind the proper curtain here. Right, so analytics. So shout out to the 34% of you from the US that listen to this. 1% of Germany listens to this. 1% of Australia listens to this. Less than 1% of Ireland listen to this. There's no excuse if Australia's listening. Come on, guys, what's going on? And 0.7% of Japan apparently listen to this. So yeah, what you're saying is absolutely bang on in terms of broadcasting and casting a wider net, I suppose, than just performing at a pub. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think that there is nothing that really you can't really replicate it. I mean, I think Meta is going to try with all its virtual reality stuff and everything like that, but I don't know. I think that there's a long way to go from
definitely
with the sensory stuff, and I for all their faults, I genuinely like people and I like being around people. So
same.
You can't really. You're not going to tell someone like me that they have to stop. That they're gonna ever stop doing that, even if. But people be like, well, Dan, the numbers. It's the numbers game. Your numbers are gonna be far less, and I'm like, well, okay, fair enough.
But the
if you're just worried about the
more,
numbers,
there's always a trade-off, isn't there? I think people inherently like to see numbers go up. Like when I recorded with YouTuber Blue Van Man, which was a couple of months back now, I put that on YouTube, and that completely banged as far as I was concerned. It's nearly on 300 listens and 300 views, which as a small-time YouTuber / podcaster that's not even on 50 subs yet, subscribe. That's all right. That's pretty good going, really. I'm pretty happy with that. And obviously Blue Van Man's got nearly 150,000 subscribers on YouTube. So all he has to do really is put some shout outs and hopefully the views will just skyrocket. And I hope that I can do that for someone else, just as a side note in the future. I'd love to help someone else on their way up. But yeah, it's a numbers game, unfortunately. I don't really care too much about that, but I do like seeing, I like the growth of the channel, and I like, I suppose, just seeing a community build around this. But I'm only a year in, so give me a break. But you seem to
said nothing. You've
cool.
you've just beaten yourself up there, man. I mean, like, I just think that ultimately you have to know why you're doing it, and really, like, for me, my route has always been that my job is to lower people's cortisol at the end of the day. And when I'm performing, it's about making people happier. And I said this to I did another interview the other day, and we were talking about how performing online is really weird, and it can be very toxic if you focus on the wrong thing. Like, so for me, I remember this one time when there was like an influx. There was like about 100, 200, 300 people. People kept pouring in. And I was like, whoa. And then I found myself really my performance went up. I started performing more. And then the numbers started to drop off. And I started to find myself getting really disheartened. And I really had to check myself after that. And I don't look at the numbers anymore. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm performing to one person. It doesn't matter if I'm performing to 0 people. It doesn't matter if I'm performing to 500, 5,000 people. It doesn't matter, because ultimately I have to give what I'm able to give of myself, and to be entertaining, to be funny, to be emotional, to be just to be. And I don't think you can really be in the moment and really be a decent performer if you are focused on how many people you're performing to, because you're not actually respecting your audience at all. And it comes across as fake. And audiences are not stupid. They know when you're phoning it in. So to hone in on the performing side of things as a musician, as an artist, as a performer, I think is the most important thing. And getting off of the numbers game, I understand the importance of it. But if that's what you're if that's what you're interested in, you know, you're you're setting yourself up for a fall
Yeah,
because ultimately the numbers are just that. Then they're just numbers, and
yeah,
I think taking care of your audience and seeing and being engaged with your audience
yeah,
is
yeah.
the real where it's
People
happening.
behind the screen, etc. Yeah, I get you.
Yes.
Your community seems to be very supportive from what I've seen on sort of Facebook Lives, and you've told me, I think, did you say you were self-funding some stuff and people kind of chip in and help you along the journey? Is that
Uh,
correct?
yeah, I mean the community is just they are my reason
Mm,
for doing everything that I
mm,
do, and I had I didn't want to do a solo record uh, when we went into lockdown or anything like that. I had no intention of doing, doing a solo record, but people kept requesting my own solo music, and then I think I put the question out there at some point and said, would anyone be interested in me doing a solo record? And it was overwhelmingly yes. And then we we uh, we had the event which was dubbed the Dan Bush, or the Ambush of Love, which was and people just sent me a whole a bunch of money to say thank you for what I had been doing, which was basically just performing every night, unpaid, and just doing it to do it.
mm.
And and I was like, well, okay, well this money I'm going to put towards towards an album now. And yeah, being an independent, I'm not signed. I'm not like I have no interest in being in signing myself over to a record label anymore. I really feel that time is done. I
Mm.
really feel that I'm just not, I'm not there with the level of control I want, the level of creativity I want, and the level of creativity that I'm not willing to give over to a load of people that do not care about
Yeah,
the creativity, and
mm.
again they care about the numbers more than they do
Yeah,
care about the art. Whereas I'm at a stage in my life now where it has to be about the art and it has to be about the love of it. um
mm.
and so and I ultimately respect my I don't want to say fans, but people that follow me, people supporters.
Supporters. Yeah,
I respect my supporters enough to not phone it in. I respect my supporters enough to give them something which is very real,
mm.
because I feel that they deserve that from me,
Yeah,
and they're the reason that I'm still here doing what I'm doing.
get you. Yeah, totally get you. Right, so we've jumped a bit ahead, so let's backpedal a tiny bit. So I usually ask people how COVID has been for them, how it's affected their life, both sort of professionally and personally. So how has that sort of jigged your social interactions and your music?
Social interactions. I've definitely been out less because there's been less venues open, less places to meet. I think there's been a lot of people who are very scared. I've had to deal with people being very fearful, and yeah, professionally everything changed for me because they took my stages away, and I was just like, well, okay, if you're going to take my stages away, I'll build my own, which is what you see here. Like this all wouldn't
Yeah,
exist unless unless we've been going through what we have been going through.
yeah,
And I don't see it, I don't see it as, it's just something that happened. I'm not gonna speak badly of
mm,
because for me, I have I have learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about other people, and I really have seen the good in people through this time.
yeah,
And I've seen myself grow in ways that I didn't think was possible. I've seen a community uh, grow and friendships be built, like which are going to stand the test of time,
yeah,
which are going to span a lifetime. Even if I'm not around, which is just amazing. Like I don't even have to be the social glue of it. I was just a
mm,
catalyst,
mm,
and I think that's absolutely amazing. So I don't. it just reminds me of that Chinese proverb of maybe. Have you heard it? Like,
No.
so there was this Chinese farmer, and like his stallion ran away, and everyone comes to him and says, "Oh, you poor guy, your stallion's ran away. And that's really bad." And he goes, "Maybe it is, maybe it isn't."
Mm.
The next day, I think like a whole load of wild horses like come to his property, and like he has 7 horses now, and everyone comes to him and goes, "Wow, that's amazing! You've now got 7 horses. That's great." And he goes, "Well, maybe it's great, maybe it isn't." And everyone thinks this guy's crazy, maybe. And then about a week later, his son is riding one of these wild stallions, falls off, and breaks his leg. And everyone comes to him and goes, "Oh, you poor guy, like, your son has broken his leg.
Yeah.
That's a terrible thing." And he goes, "Maybe it is, maybe it isn't." And everyone's like, "This guy's nuts. Like, of course it's a
Yeah.
bad thing." The very next day, the army come to conscript all the young men in the village. And because of his ailment, they pass him by. And so you
Right.
get the
Right.
idea. It's like whatever. So something bad can be
Got you.
happening to you,
Mm.
and it's always perception. My
Mm.
perception of things has had to be throughout all of this. Where is the good in this? What can I do? How can this be a good thing? And a
Yeah.
lot of the time you want to just go, it's nothing's good about this. It's not. But what if you really ask yourself that question
Mm.
and really get honest with yourself? What can I do right now to make this situation better for myself? And for other people,
Mm.
especially for other people, and things will really, really change. And
Yeah.
that's what I've seen like happen in spades.
Yeah. I do like a good proverb, I must say. I like was it the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step and that sort of thing,
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, nice. It's good to put a positive spin on things. It's very, very easy, especially online nowadays. It's very easy to be negative, isn't it? And it's very easy to just say that everything's shit. And like you said earlier, it's a great time to be alive, and people seem to sort of neglect that
I
technological
think
advance we've had.
it's always been a good and bad time to be alive. Like
Yeah,
whatever time you've been in, like there's been positive. Like people go, "Oh, back in my day," I'm like, "Yeah, but didn't you live through 2 world wars?"
yeah,
Like, yeah, sure. Like things are great, and like my dad would be like, "Oh yeah, the '60s, best time for music," and I'm like, "Yeah, but like everyone kind of did away with a lot of morals there, Dad. There was an awful lot of like
yeah,
destruction of the family throughout the '60s and the '70s and stuff. Like, it's just
yeah.
whatever time you're in,
Mm.
there's good and bad. The further back you go, things tasted better. There was maybe more of a connection to nature. However, if you maybe got a cut on your hand, you might die.
But yeah,
Like there's just it's ebbs and flows.
yeah. What a
So
fragile state of life that was. If you get some
and
poison ivy on your hand, you're done.
yeah,
Whereas
do
now we can go to Asda and get a prescription. Yeah, mad,
yeah. Do we
mad.
have do we have a catalog? Do we have a catalog of all these plants that we can eat?
Yeah,
No. Okay, who's going to eat this plant to see if it's edible?
yeah. Canary down the mine
Bob.
shaft. Yeah.
Bob.
That's it. Yeah,
Who's annoyed us today?
Hmm.
Bob, can you just taste this
yeah,
berry for us?
yeah.
Oh, Bob.
You could get the Chinese guy, and he'll be like, did that taste good? Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. It's like, mate, you're so annoying. Like, you're like a parrot. Like, brilliant. So
Maybe he is, maybe he isn't.
that's it. So, as a professional musician, it seems to be something that you've pretty much dedicated your entire life to. First things first, how is that day to day? And second, before we forget, because I'm a bit rubbish with interviewing, have you got any advice for young people that want to try their hand at music, and sort of what advice would you give them?
Um, Trying your hand at music. Uh, I, there's so many different things I could say there. Uh, First of all, if you're doing it to be famous, don't do it.
Yeah,
I really I like fame. If unless you're doing it for music, I think that you can get taken into some very, very dark places, uh, because people will be able to manipulate you in ways that are just absolutely obscene. It's a very there is a wonderful side to the industry, and I consider myself in that in that light, but there is also a very, very dark side of the industry, and I believe that if you go down the fame route, then that's where you can end up, and you can be easily manipulated because fame is ultimately a monster that does not care about you. So if you're doing it for fame, I'd say you're doing it for the wrong reasons,
Yeah.
and I would say don't do it. I would also say understand what you want first. Don't try and please other people. Don't try and please anyone. uh, like, don't try and please. Don't try and be anyone else. So don't you could be influenced by people by all means, but don't be swayed by what's in the charts now. See what you want to write. See what it is that turns you on, because then it becomes real. People respond to things that are real. People will respond to you, the individual, and don't be afraid. And don't be afraid to be yourself. Cultivate what it is that makes you you. Because if you're just pushing to be something that you're not, it will die. You'll end up resenting it. But the more and more you can be yourself, the truer your art will be, and the truer people will see you as, and your audience will find you.
Yeah.
So yeah, be yourself. Don't do it for fame, and understand. In understanding yourself, you will understand your audience as well,
Mm.
which will hone your art a lot quicker.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. Is what I'm getting from that.
I
So
like it. That's
it's
in
a
a
good
nutshell.
good
In a
quote, isn't it?
nutshell,
Yeah.
be yourself. Yeah.
So day to day, what does your schedule look like? Obviously, you've got Tracy, who's your manager, who I've obviously had a bit of a WhatsApp chat with now and then.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
how do you sort of manage the chaos that is? Can you hop on my podcast? Can you dedicate a song to my son? Can you release a solo album? Can you? I imagine it's a lot.
Yeah. There is a lot to do. I think I I work a lot, and I work late. But I say I work. I just do things,
Yeah,
and I schedule a lot. So having the live stream from 7 o'clock through till 8 o'clock, from Monday to Friday, every week, gives me some sort of routine, so I know where I have to be. Then on the Sundays, I'll do early morning coffee, like live streams, and then I'll do a Patreon performance at 10:45 through to 11:30, and that's having that routine is very, very helpful. But then there's in between everything. There's recording music videos that I do here, and writing songs, and learning material as well.
yeah,
Now what's happening is I'm getting ready for actual live shows. So Jordan Red have got shows coming up. I've got shows with a band I'm in called Shocked to the Heart. I'm thinking I'm starting to get the itch to write music again, and it's the main thing I've learned is about scheduling things in. So you have your wider mission, which is like, right, here we're going to record an album, say, and then you've got everything in between. And yeah, it's mostly, I don't know, I wake up late and I get up early,
yeah.
really, and I just start. I just I'm at my workstation here
Got
a
yeah,
lot, and or I get to go to the gym, which is cool. So
yeah, yeah. So, how many bands are you in? Seems to grow every time I speak to you.
it depends on what pedantic you want to be. I mean, I
Yeah,
think, like, so my main projects are New Device, Jordan Red. I'm in a band called Shot Through the Heart, which is we are a like an 80s covers group, but we don't do the standard stuff. We do the songs from bands that you love that people wouldn't usually do. Does
yeah,
that make sense? So
yeah.
we wouldn't play Living on a Prayer. We
Mm,
would play Born to Be My Baby by Bon Jovi, and so that's always really fun. I'm
mm,
in another wedding group that I run called the Wedding Crashers, which is like a folk group. So I play acoustic. We have a violinist, a double bass player,
yeah,
drummer. That's really great. And I've got my solo career as well. I've got a band which is on a hiatus, but a band called the Smoking Aces. I was in a band called Speed Machine, and yeah, I don't know, I just love making music.
Yeah.
So against my better judgment, I sort of join these projects and these groups, and they sort of just take
Yeah.
on a life of their own.
Yeah. So out of this, let's start with New Device. So I've been listening to New Device quite a lot in the last couple of
Nice.
days, obviously as research. And I'm a bit gutted, to be honest, because I used to be in a band called Desert Rose, which everyone in Weymouth knows about, because it wasn't the best sort of it was quite egotistical and quite sort of in your face sort of rock, like Guns N' Roses Eat Your Heart Out sort of stuff.
Oh,
But then I
cool.
listened to New Device, and I kind of feel that it was everything that Desert Rose could have been. And if we had a chance to tour with you, I think that would have absolutely gone off, because we would have complemented each other quite a lot, and we would have grown as musicians rather than being like, fuck Weymouth, like, let's stick it to the man, that sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a bit gutted that we never got to play together. But at the same time, you know, everything happens for a reason and all that sort of thing.
Certainly
But
does. I mean, yeah, New Device has gone through it's gone through transitions, mostly because of the members that changed. So from our first album Taken Over to our last record, which was Kuroshi, like there's been there's been a lot of members like come through New Device. But I'm so proud of everything that we've done. It's been a crazy journey for me. Like it's been some of the most amazing experiences of my life, and it's allowed me to create some of the best material of my life as well. And
yeah,
from to be able to do an album with a band, I think is an absolute blessing. And the fact that we're on like our was it 4, 5, 6? Yeah. So now would be our seventh record. I think that's right. Yeah.
yeah.
Now we're writing our seventh record. So it's
Wow.
all it's all go, and there's
Yeah.
just so much creativity New Device. I know when I write for New Device, I know how to write for New Device.
Yeah.
And
Got you.
yeah.
I think I kind of got introduced to you through Jodie Newman, who is now married, and I can't remember her surname. And
Bruff.
that was it,
Bruff.
Bruff. Yeah, nice one. And it was just when you guys released Taken Over, I couldn't escape it. It was like the Spice Girls. It was like every time I opened my Facebook
Really?
news feed, it was like, New Device have been tagged in this post, and like someone has shared that, and it was like New Device are taking over, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this is like, obviously, you know, it's a good thing that it kind of saturated the news feed of mine, but that definitely obviously hit some ears. Sort of, how
That's
did
really
you? Yeah,
how did it, out of interest, how did that make you feel as a musician? Did it make you jealous? Did you get did it piss you off? What was the how did you guys feel about that?
I think it's ultimately about intent. If I want to go on Facebook and message my mum, then I
Yeah.
don't really care too much if a band's released an album. Whereas if I am going on there to utilitize my, I wonder what new bands there are out there, then it's bang on. You know, it's fantastic, because you're essentially getting a bit of a spotlight shined on you in a world full of bands and musicians, and everyone wants to give it, you know, 1,000,000%. So yeah, it depends on the sort of target audience, I suppose. It depends on the demographic. There's
I mean,
yeah,
but when you were in Desert Rose,
yeah.
like, if is that when you said
Yeah, I think it was a couple of years after, so I think I kind of
oh,
missed the boat. But
okay,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah, no, I know what you
I
mean.
missed the timeline. I just wondered
Yeah,
because like there's so many people, like, so let's take Jordan Red for example.
yeah,
So with Jordan Red, we've had a lot of backlash from other musicians that think that we have this major label funding,
mm,
because they're like, oh, these guys are everywhere, and like they're getting funding from like rich people and stuff. And we're like, are you kidding?
mm,
Like it's self-funded. There's two of us.
yeah,
There's two of us, and everyone's like going on about like just because we've managed to, which is no small feat, to be able to target an audience online in such a way which has got to people's ears, and consequently people think that we're now like sellouts, or like
Yeah.
we've got all this funding. And I just wonder if because I see that a lot, that there's a breakdown in the community, in the rock scene. And I've really wanted to try to make friends in the London scene, especially, which is where I'm from, and try and actually create a community of people that will uh, help with tours, with gig swapping, and creating a community of people that actually care about each other and will celebrate each other's work.
Yeah.
Because I believe that, I really do believe that if you can call on people to be, uh, when you've got questions about the industry, or do you know someone that can, everyone, the rising tide lifts all ships. I truly believe that.
I
And
agree.
if you've got good music out there, then people are going to want to hear it, and people are going to want to play with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. That
Mm.
was I was just interested in
Yeah.
how people saw New Device back in the day, because I know how some
Mm.
people are seeing Jordan Red now, and it's a little bit disappointing,
Mm.
if I'm honest. But
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. When I was in bands, I was in Desert Rose for about 3-4 years, and then I kind of moved on to the metal scene and sort of became a bit of a
yeah,
hired gun, I suppose the term is. But I was always the sort of operations and logistics manager of all the bands, and it was kind of up to the other members to write the music, and I was the one that was doing the PR and giving out the business cards and stuff like that. And there's two ways of doing it, essentially. There's targeted marketing, so going into Facebook groups that are like Rock Metal UK and saying, "Hi guys, we've just released a new album, we'd love it if you could listen." And then there's sort of flooding, saturated marketing, which is just get it everywhere, completely engulf the internet in all of your stuff. And if you throw enough stuff at a wall, some of it sticks. So both of them have sort of strategies and outputs to them. But yeah,
yeah.
I think you
We,
did it
we
right.
call we call that spray and pray.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
yeah.
I got you. So is New Device still going?
Yeah, New Device is still going. It's been difficult because we've sort of been scattered around the country now. So rehearsal is rehearsing is a bit more difficult,
Of course.
and like we're still writing with each other, which is good, that we're still able to be creative, and we still have shows booked in for this year and even for next year, which is
Yeah.
great. So yeah, but it's definitely something which we still all love, and we still do
Mm.
want to do. And I just still love all the music that we've done, like, intensely, and
Yeah.
we all do. So yeah,
Awesome.
but yeah, it's
Nice.
all still going.
So when did Jordan Red start? What was the timeline for that?
John Red, I think, started in, like, I think it was 2017. I think.
Okay.
When it started, but it was starting from scratch. You see, so it started from nothing. So we spent years writing music, and we didn't have money,
Yeah, of
so
course.
we saved up, like, a load of money, and we went to Longwave Studios in Cardiff, recorded with Ramesh, who's, like, recorded, like, Bring Me the Horizon, and I think he's done stuff with, is it Manic Street Preachers, and just A Funeral for a Friend, all those guys.
Yeah.
And it was just, we really focused on quality with Jordan Red. That was our main. We really had to just push that. We knew that if we were going to actually start taking on any of these bands that were in the mainstream,
Mm.
then we couldn't skimp on any, uh, just any quality
Yeah.
at all. We had to push it, but it meant it was expensive, and being independent again,
Yeah.
you sort of feel the sting
Mm.
of the bills that come in. But when you love it,
Mm.
as much as we do, it really is worth it.
Agreed. Yeah. I think when you're limited in budget, resource, people, any sort of limitation, you get creative, don't you? And you become very resourceful, and you start finding a way through the chaos rather than letting it stop.
Yeah, was it Genghis Khan said, "We'll find a way or make one," and that's been that's been a big uh, yeah a big thing in my life where it's been like, well, what do we have, and focusing on what you do have as a
Yeah.
musician is very is a great skill to have, because uh, if there's any young musicians out there,
Mm.
don't focus on what you don't have. Don't focus on the fact that you're not signed. Don't focus on the fact that you might not have any money.
Mm.
Focus on the skills that you have. Focus on the fact that, every single one of us has one of these things. Like if I had a camera that was half as good as this
Agreed.
when I was younger, like, oh my God, the
Yeah, man.
possibilities, and I don't use it enough.
Yeah.
I still don't use it enough. Like I would have been using that every single day to
Yeah.
push out my music. I had so much belief in what I did, and
Yeah.
it's I just think
Agreed.
that it's
Yeah.
you have so much at your disposal right now. So many ways. You don't have to go out and flyer to everyone because you want to get 10 people to your show.
Bang on. Yeah.
You don't have to do that anymore.
Completely agreed. Yeah.
People do it, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, you have the internet now.
Just on that, just quickly, I'm just going to quickly haul myself out. Just stand by, Dan. Please hold. I filmed a set surf promotional video on my YouTube channel the other day, and I filmed it on my phone sideways against rocks on the beach because it's obviously surfing sun cream. And I did all of it on this phone. Back in the day, that would have been like a DSLR, a tripod, a whole production crew of people on the beach with me. It's just the whole world's in your hands, which is obviously a negative and a positive. But I got paid for that video. Do you know what I mean? You can do whatever you want nowadays. But the problem with that is everyone can do whatever they want, and some people have to do the bins. So keep it.
But this is it. It's like it goes back to that the rising tide
100%.
raises all ships. So like everyone comes up together.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have access to a great deal of stuff.
Yeah.
Like the what I'm recording on right now, when I cut my teeth recording on tape.
Yeah.
We recorded on 8-track tape, and that was how. And a lot of people will say to me, "This is not to blow my own trumpet. It's just a skill I've had to hone, because I don't have a lot of natural talent.
Agreed.
Most of what I have is skill.
I'm exactly the same.
I just hammer it and hammer. I'm the bludgeoner. I'm like,
Yeah.
kind of like this, and I smash something together.
Yeah.
But I really cut my teeth. We had to get it in like one, maybe 1-2 takes, if you were lucky, because tape was expensive, and the more you kept using it and rewinding, and you just wanted to get it right, because the process took so flipping long.
Yeah, man.
And people complain about digital. It's like, oh really? Space bar delete. That's what you complain about.
Yeah.
Try like having to rewind all that stuff and then doing punch-ins on tape. I mean, I'm sounding really, really old.
No, I completely agree. Like, I can't imagine watching like Queen record. That must have been the most intense recording session of like, right, Freddie, you're up. You've got one take to do. I want to break free. Go. Like,
and it's so mental. There's that story about Buddy Holly when I think so they were recording on like a 4-track, and I think they'd recorded the bass and the drums, and I can't remember how it worked, but they were bouncing 2 tracks down onto one, and they said listen, and he said I want to put harmony, and he said we can't because we don't have enough tracks. And he goes, well, bounce these 2 down onto this track, and then I'll record the harmony. And they said, you better get it right. You have one shot of this, otherwise if you get the vocal wrong, we'll have to record the drums and the bass like again. And I think there was a story about, I don't know how true this is, but like his future wife walked in, like, and he was just like, ah, and then
Yeah.
the whole thing, he messed it up, and then they were like, ah, buddy, we're gonna have to record everything again, and he was like, I'm in love. Ooh, wee, ooh, I look just like Buddy Holly.
Brilliant. Love it. Well, I love these stories because no one knows if they're real or not. And there's such a sort of grapevine feel of like, I'm trying to think of some, but I'm sure there's hundreds. Like, I remember hearing on ultimateguitar.com that Bill Ward from Black Sabbath, he used to mess up his drum takes and he couldn't be bothered to re-record them. So if you listen to like Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath, occasionally you'll hear like a mishit on the drums, but you really have to listen out for them. They're very subtle. But yeah, there's another example of Lemmy did a song called Fight, which is on Inferno, which is one of my favorite albums ever. Right at the beginning of that song, he says, "Turn the bass up, will ya?" And they left it in, and I just love stuff like that. I love it's just so raw, so real.
Can I swear
Of
on this
course you can.
podcast? So there's I got hold of the stem files for, I think it was Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, and they have all, and because they recorded on a 24 track. Now, like, when you're doing digital,
Yeah,
you can have as many tracks as you want, but when you're on a 24 track and you're a band like Queen and you've got 54 instruments that you want to record down, you would have a track which would have a bit of vocals, a bit of piano, a bit of harpsichord on it, or who
yeah,
knows what it was. But then you had Freddie at the very end. They obviously muted it after he finished playing, and he played something like that, and then you just hear him go, "Oh fuck it!" It's just at the very end. You're like, "Oh my god!" He said, "So I just finished. Oh fuck it!" And he gets up and like walks off. He's like, okay, let's move on. Just all stuff like that. I just think that's real. And even like when like the new, I haven't seen it, but the new Beatles
I
documentary.
haven't seen that. Apparently, it's 5 hours long.
It's just them messing around mostly,
Yeah,
isn't it? And I think that's very interesting because like it's just because they were about to go and do this like big performance, and like Yoko's there and everything, and like, but they're mostly just like just talking and talking kind of rubbish, which is just, I think by that point they were so in tune with each other and what they had to do.
yeah,
I just
got yeah,
I think I will give it a watch,
yeah,
or at least some of it, maybe do it in bits, and just to sort of see how they worked, because they really work, like them or loathe
yeah,
them. I think you can't deny the effect that the Beatles had
yeah, definitely.
on everything.
Society, yeah, definitely. I'll send you a link after this for a Devon Townsend clinic that I watch now and then if I'm feeling a bit down, and he's just so inspiring. I don't know if you're a fan of Devon Townsend, but
Devin Townsend, this
he's
guy.
incredible, man. Like, he does clinics and he doesn't even really play guitar. He kind of just turns it into a Q&A. And someone says to him, if you're feeling in a bit of a shitty mood, how do you write? And he's like, I either write really badly, like heavy music, like Strapping Young Lad sort of thing, which is one of his other bands, or I don't write, because he's very much a subconscious writer and stuff just kind of falls out of him, and he dreams of riffs, which is mental. I can't imagine not being able to turn off to the point that I'm dreaming of music.
Well, I feel his pain, because that's what
Yeah,
I haven't dream written in a long time, but a lot of
yeah,
the songs which end up on my albums
yeah.
are from dreams. Yeah.
Yeah, man. But yeah, he's very sort of flippant. He's like, if I'm not feeling it, I won't write. But if I am feeling it, it kind of becomes this waterfall of like, I can't stop this floodgate from, the horse has left the stable, so to speak. And I'm kind of a vessel of this crazy symphonic sort of orchestral chaos. And you can really hear that in his music, I think, sometimes. But yeah,
I think an artist like Devon
yeah,
Townsend. I mean, he has so much ability. I mean, I'm in a very different league to him. I understand it on a fractal level, though, that when you really do get in what is largely been called the zone I understand what it means to be in the zone and to almost and to be more of a conduit as
Yeah.
opposed to someone who's writing something. I know what
Got
it
yeah.
takes to sort of write things and go and to really be like, well, if I'm going to use this rhyme scheme, then this pentameter, like you can get into that thing. But if when you're just like, I have to go to this chord, this is where it needs to go,
Yeah.
or you just open up your mouth and suddenly this melody comes out which cannot be beaten, and you sort of think, well, where did that come from? And you think, did I write that?
Mm,
And you're like, I mean, like, it came from my mouth, but
mm,
where did it come from? And you just go from the ether.
mm.
And and because of that, I find it very difficult uh to take credit
Mm.
for a lot of the music which I've actually written. And that's,
Got yeah.
I don't mean to sound like very hippy dippy
I get
and all
you.
that kind of stuff.
I
I
get you.
just, I think that we're really given gifts as humans, from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And which is why I think, I get as creative as if you get creative, if you
Mm.
if you feel that spark of inspiration and
Yeah.
intuition, then grasp it, because I'm always scared that it's going to go, because I listen to a lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
my mentors and things, and they'll tell me, oh yeah, like in my 20s I was so on it,
On
and
it. Yeah. Yeah.
when I got into my 30s and 40s, it just kind of went, and I'm like,
Mm.
oh man, really?
Yeah.
That sounds terrible, but I don't want to be that guy that
Mm.
isn't able to create anymore, isn't
Yeah.
able to write music anymore.
I've got you. So just on that, being a vessel and being a conduit, how do you know, Dan Leigh, when a song is finished?
When I start doing stuff to it that makes it sound worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I'm not happy with if there's I always know when lyrics and stuff are, because there's some songs which didn't make my solo album. So how I did it was, I said, right, I wrote 17 songs, and then what did I do? So I wrote 17 songs, then I had a performance where people, I played all the songs back to back, and people voted on, so I chose 6, and the final 4, everyone else voted on the other 11.
Yeah.
So then the remaining songs which didn't make it, there's still some, like, what I would consider dead wood in a lot of those songs. Like, people are like, oh, I wish you would record this song, and I'm like, it's still not finished, because there's something about the rhyme, or like I feel like I phoned something in, that there's lack of meaning there.
Mm.
And I think I don't want to say when but if you are
Yeah.
doing stuff to the song where you're like, no,
Mm.
that's dead wood. That we're just playing for playing's sake. Why do we need a solo there? That doesn't need a solo. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
do you need to say, how many times you need to say baby, baby, yeah, yeah, yeah in this one bit? You're just doing it to be, just to fill.
Yeah.
All killer, no filler.
That's it. Yeah. 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 Sum 41 album. Love it.
Yeah.
Right. So we've kind of naturally gone into your solo stuff. So that's kind of one of the reasons we're here, really, isn't it? To promote your new solo record. So for the people out there that don't know, what's the solo record called and when is it out?
The solo record, actually, I have a copy of it right here, and it's called Any Other Name. And there's my face on it. A beardless goatee. All I have is a bit of a goatee and long haired. And yeah, very, very pleased with this. The album's called Any Other Name, and it's 10 tracks, which I'm super happy with. And
Yeah.
it's just it's like I've never done anything quite like this before.
Mm.
Especially solo wise. I've released a solo EP about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
That was called My Little Lie, and that was a very, which do I have a copy? Yes, I do. And this is my first solo record, looking very different. like
Yeah,
short hair and everything. But yeah, this is a very different record to this, and I
yeah.
feel this is more a little bit more grown up,
Mm.
maybe.
Yeah, that's really important, I think. You develop
Yeah.
as your. There's not many bands like AC/DC nowadays where they can just, like you say, phone it in and it's the same flavor food every single. It's predictable, but it's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It definitely does what it needs to do. But
Was it
yeah.
Angus Young said? Angus Young said he goes. People say we've got 10 albums that sound the same. I resent that. We've got 12 albums.
So they kind of lean into the branding of like,
They
yeah,
know what they are.
yeah,
They
yeah,
know
yeah.
what they are.
Angus Young doesn't have any guitar pedals. That's mental. Like
That's
I
mental.
can't get over the fact that they just they opted out of all of this like Axe effects, Kemper, virtualization sort of. Oh man, you need to get a sick wah pedal, and they're just like, nah, I'm good. No, I'm fine, thanks. This works. This SG's fine, and Malcolm's over there, and just everything's fine. But yeah, so yeah, nice. Right, so new album. My personal favourites of the album: "Runaway Train." It's a good sort of intro song. "English Rose," and is it "He Lost His Way"? Is that the song?
He lost his soul.
"He Lost His Soul." That was it. Yeah, I was listening to them earlier, and they were all sort of free flowing. Obviously, Tracy hooked me up with the WeTransfer link, which I'm not going to distribute, no matter how many people bribe me. So yeah, when is the album actually out? Sorry,
The album is out now.
it's out now, right?
We released it just before Christmas, so
Got you.
it was a good stocking filler. And yeah, it's I'm very overwhelmed with how well it's been doing,
Mm,
and how not just how well it's been selling, but more how how much it's really touched people. The messages that I get about what their favorite songs, and how I guess they've people connect to different songs, and how the album is just been this journey, but people are still on the journey with it. So people haven't sort of written it off. They're still listening to it. I mean, there's a lot of independent music I find is, people buy it for, I know people have bought some of my records, and they're still in the cellophane. They bought it to show support, but they haven't actually listened to it. I know for
mm,
a fact that people are really listening to the album. People have their favorites. People are really connected to certain songs, and I just think as an artist, that's the biggest compliment that you can receive with doing what it is that I do, which is to make music to connect with people and to keep entertaining.
mm. Got you. Yeah, it's all about that sort of feeling of inclusivity and resonate. Like you want the music to resonate with someone's situation, but you don't want it to be too specific. You kind of want it to be talking in metaphors, I suppose, and people can then apply that to their own personal circumstance.
It's a weird one with writing, because sometimes you just want you want it to be just there's what I call fireworks songs, like
Mm,
baby, 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 you're amazing,
mm,
and there's a place for that. And
mm,
then there's sometimes, like for me, I will create characters to to ask questions in songs and have conversations between different people to allow
mm,
me to express things, which I'm actually afraid to express myself, because I keep saying about this album, the reason I didn't want to write this was because I didn't have writer's block. It was because I had writer's fear. I was very, very scared to confront some of this stuff which I wanted to express,
yeah.
but there was a lot of pain that came out during this. I did writing sessions live, so there was live writing sessions, which I did on Twitch. I
Great.
think I might have done a couple on Facebook, but I really invited the
Mm,
audience in on the journey,
mm,
and consequently, there was times when I was crying, like real genuine
mm,
tears, like writing lyrics, um and tapping into all this stuff which I wasn't which I kind of I needed to express it one way or another, but I
Yeah.
hadn't wanted to do it for some time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was, and I don't want to write about it anymore, which is great. Like I'm not. I
Mm.
like my next record, whatever it is not going to be about that because I know it's not going to be about that because I don't have the same desire. I'm not writing in the same way anymore, and I don't
Yeah.
have that. There's a different hunger to write now.
Got you. Yeah. 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 Awesome. There we go. So, Dan, music idols slash inspirations. Who's your top three sort of singer songwriters that you look up to when you write?
Um, I'm gonna say I always have to say Nirvana as number one, just because of the profound effect that Nirvana had on me as a teenager. They're the reason that I they were the catalyst, the final thing that said, right, you have to play guitar now.
Mm.
Um, and who else? I'd say. I'd say. I mean, I think maybe Metallica is in that somewhere, but I'm more of a new Metallica fan.
Yeah.
So I'd hold like when I was really into Load,
Mm.
and I guess like the Black Album, but there's a lot of people who are like, oh, Kill 'Em All and Master of Puppets and stuff. I'm like, that stuff sounds shit. Like I'm really, and like, to Metallica fans' dismay, and I'm like, no, the records sound terrible to me, and I can't get into Saint Anger or the stuff
Mm.
that they did with Lou Reed. I just think it's
Mm.
just absolute tripe.
Mm.
But I was really, there's a handful of Metallica things that really did influence me.
Yeah.
Artists like Robert Palmer from the '80s. Um, he was a massive influence on me, and I guess like the Kinks. So I know I've chosen a lot there, but
Mm.
like yeah, let's
It's
go
all good.
Nirvana, the Kinks, and yeah, I'll say Robert Palmer. Oh no, let's say Queen, Freddie Mercury. We'll throw Freddie in there just because
Yeah.
he really introduced me to that kind of real soaring vocals.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Right, we're going to stop talking about music for a second, and we're going to move into
Uh oh.
fitness world. So you are obviously into your fitness. I've recently got into fitness. Shout out Grind for sponsoring the podcast. I've gone from 2K, 3K, 5K to 10K jogging. I now do 20K a week on average, and I want to do a half marathon. But how does music and fitness coexist in your life, and does it help you write music?
I think I remember I had a friend years ago, and she was this amazing singer and guitarist, and she always struggled with her weight and her diet. And I kept trying to explain to her that it was like one and the same,
Mm.
like the her diet and her physical well-being went hand in hand. The fitter you are, the clearer your mind, the more your body is in flow, the 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 clearer your head will be to write music. I think that I'm not sure where the soul is, but I think that the brain is almost like a receiver, and if you're fogging up your brain with like aspartame, aspartamine, excess sugars, trans fats, like bad television, like all kinds of stuff. If you're fogging your head up with that, then you're not going to be you're not going to be as ready to be productive.
Yeah.
And also, if you're on stage and you're like me and you have intense songs to sing, and you are in a band that's very energetic and needs you to be on top form. Like if my fitness levels drop below, say, 80%, maybe 70%, then I can't tour with New Device. I can't tour with Jordan Red. If I can maybe get away with being if as a solo artist can maybe get away with being at like 60%, but even that on the road is hard to maintain if you're wrecking yourself with alcohol
Mm.
and drugs and smoking and everything like that. You know, your longevity is in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And so I think staying fit and just on a professional level,
Mm.
and look to be able to stay working, to be able to be someone that doesn't call up and cancel rehearsals because they're hungover, to be able to be someone that
Yeah.
that gets the call like last minute, which I've been many a time, when they say, Dan, we need a singer and we need a guitarist right now, and I go, okay, where do you need me to be? And they say 3 hours away, and I go, I'll be there in 2.5. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and when, and being that guy, it's you can get the gig by being fitness. It
Yeah.
spans so much, and I think that staying healthy, especially as a singer, because your body is your instrument.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm.
if you're smoking and drinking and doing, God, even like shouting, if you're wrecking your voice like that, and even in the gym, I have to be very careful about how I exercise. My chin is always on my chest when I'm lifting heavy weights, so I don't strain muscles here. I make sure that they're relaxed when I'm doing like chest press and things
Mm.
like that.
Mm.
I'm very careful about even how I like grunt. Like some guys are like, yeah, this was for America, and they're like, screaming out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I'm going, yeah, and I like
Yeah.
my how I'm doing my growls is very controlled, but it has to affect it.
Got
My
you.
body is my body is my instrument. So
Yeah. So it's that level of preparedness. There's a band I've got on in September this year who are from LA called City of Sounds, and their singer has pretty much the exact same answer as you, and he's quite a sort of macho kind of fitness sort of. It's all about being ready to go out on tour, and your body is your temple and all that sort of thing. And like you say, if you fill it up with bad things, then you won't be as good as someone that doesn't do that. Does that make sense?
it does. I think that it is. I think it is survival. It's not. It is actually survival of the fittest. If you
Yeah.
can't, if your immune system, in today's day and age, especially, is compromised, the last thing you want to be doing is compromising yourself. Stop filling your body. Like, what's so mental is that there's all these foods and drinks out there,
Mm.
like which tell you that they're good for you, like margarine. Like, don't have margarine. Uh, Diet Coke. Don't have Diet Coke.
Mm.
Like, all these things. It's diet, yeah, DIE at the start. That's
Yeah.
die Coke. You like, don't be filling your body up with that. Fluoride
Mm.
in your toothpaste. Like, I haven't used fluoride toothpaste in over 10 years. Not a cavity, nothing. Stop filling your body with poisons. Get out, get some sun, eat some leafy greens, eat some fruits. Change your taste buds. Like, help your taste buds to change.
Mm.
People, like, stop being so addicted to cheese.
Mm.
People are so addicted to cheese. You say, people say, oh, how much cheese do you eat? I don't eat cheese. What? They look at me as if I'm
Yeah.
insane. And I'm like, I think you've actually got a problem. So, and that's not me getting judgy, but like, if,
Yeah.
if you're actually going to ask me questions, say, how do you, how do you look like that? But people ask me this, like, I come off stage and say, how can I look like that? And
Mm.
they're half serious and they're holding a pint in their hand, and I go,
Mm.
I don't do that. And
Mm.
it's not to, like, if you want to drink, fine,
Mm.
fine, fine. I'm just telling you what I do not do. I
Yeah.
don't
What
even have to tell
works?
you what I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
It's just what I don't do. Most of what enables me to be fit is what I don't do, not
Mm.
what I do. People always want to know, what's the secret? how many reps do you do? What's your macros? What's your carb intake? What's your protein intake? What
mm,
supplements do you take? I'm like, before you go into any of that,
mm,
I think it's going to be about what you stop doing with your diet, which is going to be, I mean, I miss pizza so badly. Like I miss, there's foods I miss like with all my heart and all my taste buds, and but they hate me. Like they make me feel so ill, and
mm.
it's just not worth it. Nothing tastes that good. Nothing tastes good enough in life to make me feel as crap as those things make me feel. So I cut them out, and lo and behold, I am able to I'm able to do a live stream, perform my heart out, and
Mm.
then still be feeling like I've got like I could go on talking to you like this for like 5 hours now,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and I'm still full of life. It's like
yeah.
it's 9 o'clock at night, and I'm still full of energy because I it's your body is your temple, but
Mm.
it's true. Like what you put, if it's garbage in, it's going to be garbage out. Fill your
Agreed.
body,
Yeah,
what you are, what you eat. Everyone knows all this stuff, and I just don't want to
yeah,
sound like I'm
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
like your parents or anything, but there's if you treat yourself badly, you're gonna feel bad. If you treat yourself well, if you love yourself,
Yeah.
then you're gonna experience heaps of good stuff. I promise you.
Yeah. Just like to point out that Dan Leigh's opinions don't represent the podcast, and if any butter or cheese companies want to join as a sponsor, then hit me up and send me
I never
buckets
said
loads of cash.
I never said there was anything wrong with butter.
There we go.
Like,
Clip that. Right. So obviously, before this episode, we spoke on WhatsApp briefly. And we kind of subconsciously went into conspiracy theory territory of sort of technology is kind of a double-edged sword. And I want to know what your favorite conspiracy theory is for all of the speculators out there.
uh, in any particular area.
Any? Yeah, any.
My favorite conspiracy theory is that we never went to the moon.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I just think that, like, I think that's a very interesting one, because I used to be all for, yes, we went to the moon, and then you're like, why haven't we been back?
Yeah.
And then you're looking at all these like billionaires who are going up in penis rockets,
Mm.
and they're space cowboys, and they don't go beyond the Van Allen belt. Everyone's celebrating them like they're these like
Yeah.
amazing, and then you're like, well, hang on, didn't we do this back in the '60s?
Yeah.
And then you look at Project Paperclip, and then you're like, oh, hang on, didn't you just like swallow up all these Nazi scientists and throw them into NASA?
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing? And isn't the Saturn V rocket just like a glorified V2 bomb?
Mm.
That's very interesting, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. And then you ask them, how did you get through the Van Allen belt? Isn't that very dangerous radiation? And then all these space stations are below the Van Allen belt. So how'd you get through the Van Allen belt, Buzz Aldrin? How'd you get through the Van Allen belt, Neil Armstrong? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
go, well, we didn't really know. And then you look at and then you go, well, hang on. Have you ever seen the space, the rocket, the shuttle take off from the moon? The camera pans up.
Mm.
Who the hell did that? Who the hell was the cameraman that panned up
Mm.
on the moon? Right? And you're talking to the astronauts from Earth to the moon,
Mm.
like on a landline? And what is
Yeah.
there there's zero delay?
No
I think
latency.
there's
Yeah.
apparently
Yeah.
supposed to be like at least an 8-minute delay, maybe
Yeah.
even more. Like the more you look into it, the more fishy it sounds. And get this, the tapes that they recorded it all on, oh, we don't have them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have them anymore. Why
Mm-hmm.
not? Oh, well, the tape was so expensive, we just had to repurpose them for something else. That was the most important thing that human beings have ever done. Well, the most important, and you're going to tell me that we don't have them anymore? Get out of my face.
Yeah.
I just, but I'm not saying we didn't go to the moon. I'm simply saying that the shuttle, the lunar lander looks like like a meth head's tree fort. Like,
Yeah.
like really, like that. It was that thin, and apparently it was pressurized, and there was like micro asteroids, micro meteorites like flying around. That wouldn't survive anything.
Mm.
Unbelievable. And I
Agreed.
just and Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong went into. He became a recluse. They didn't let him have any interviews anymore. Buzz
Yeah.
Aldrin became a drunk,
Mm.
and like he didn't like people questioning anything. I mean, you might say, okay, well, there's tons of stuff. The more you
Mm.
look into it, the more fishy it sounds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, do I think that we didn't go to the moon? Maybe. Do I think that we did go to the moon? Maybe. Do I think it's something that should be questioned? Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Got you.
absolutely, it should be questioned.
Well, regarding the tape and the fact that they didn't have any and it was expensive, they're obviously using it for the albums that you've been recording.
I wish that would have been pretty nice.
That's it. Yeah, we have to get this to Freddie Mercury. Sorry, we're gonna have to. Do you remember like VHS? Where you had to like record over VHS,
Of course, I do.
like that sort of thing. Yeah. Sorry, but we have a more pressing project than moon landing. So yeah. There we go. So yeah, nice conspiracy theory. So I've got some quick fire questions for you, and then we're going to wrap up with the old meal deal question, and we're going to ask you what you've got planned for the future. So these are the most random questions ever. So just say the first thing that comes into your head.
Uh-oh.
Right. Let's not get cancelled. Right. So Kinder Egg.
I've just questioned the moon. I've just questioned the moon.
Yeah.
Like chances are,
That's true.
we've already been cancelled, or at least called a conspiracy nut. Kinder Egg, toy.
Kinder Egg is a toy. Okay, cool. Baby belt or cheese string?
Gross.
Gross. Nice. I like the cheese narrative here that we're creating. Would you rather camp in a tent or stay in a static caravan?
Static caravan.
Live in the country or the city?
Rather live in the country.
Yeah. Chocolate or sweets?
Oh, chocolate, but I tend not to eat any of them. But yeah, chocolate.
Got ya. Bath or shower?
I don't have a bath, so shower.
Yeah. Fair enough. And that is about it. I've also got a minor inconvenience that I kind of want to get out of my system. And you're welcome to join me if you have any minor inconveniences, little things that annoy you day to day. Mine is not getting checked for a train ticket. It's been a very, very long time since I've been on a train. But that feeling of buying like a £45 return ticket and not getting checked by a guard on the train is just so infuriating. And yeah.
So I understand that. I see so many kids. These damn kids! They barge their way through the barriers and stuff, and no one checks them.
Got you. Yeah. So, last question before the meal deal. What does the future look like for Dan Leigh? What have you got planned in the next 11 to 12 months?
I'm gonna say definitely. Well, we're releasing the Jordan Red album, which is called Hands That Built the World, and I'm gonna think about writing another. I'm definitely thinking about writing another solo record as well. How I do it, I'm gonna have to really think hard about it because, I just don't. I last thing I want to do is burn out, but I definitely want to be getting out and playing this album. So playing as much as possible. I still want to be. I'm gonna move. I'm moving from where I am now. I'm gonna be moving closer to my family in at the end of April. Start of April, and then so that's going to be a whole shift for me because I'll be closer to a music studio there. I'll be closer to family, and there'll just be I'm gonna probably start growing food as well, which is cool. So Dan the farmer, that'd
Yeah.
be another thing that I'd be interested in doing. So I'm probably gonna look to be keeping chickens and growing vegetables, and yeah, just opening up my mind and
Mm.
getting back to nature a lot more, and you know, working on just being around my family. Like
Yeah.
I think that's very important. I feel I'm a bit sort of too far out here, and doing what I do, working from home,
Mm.
writing at home and working here so much. I feel that for my mental health, it's good to, I think family really is wealth, and if you can be around, if you get on with your family, be around them. I say as much as you can.
Yeah. Fair enough. I like the whole self-sustainable sort of lifestyle. It kind of fits your sort of, what's the word?
Yeah,
Not brand, because obviously you are a human being, but I can tell throughout this conversation that you're quite sort of at peace, and if you can do it yourself,
do
then
you think that? Do I seem
start.
like do I seem like I'm at peace?
Little bit. You're quite calm, and your voice is
Yeah.
very soothing, and sort of you're not like,
Okay.
I fucking hate traffic lights. Oh my god, just this sort of pent up, like hating the world sort of
No, 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 no.
feeling. You're very.
I'm very passionate, but
Mm,
at the same time, I don't see myself. I really, and don't get me wrong. There's things that grind my gears
mm,
like crazy, and if you get me on one of those topics,
yeah,
I mean, it's off to the races. But ultimately, I don't want to nurture that kind of energy,
yeah,
because I've been down that road before, and it's just not a good place to live.
agreed.
Like in your mind, I don't think that there's always going to be someone who's better and worse off than you are, and I think that be in competition with no one but yourself, and
Mm,
living in, and that attitude of gratitude, I think, is really, really important. Be grateful for what you have,
yeah,
and if there is something that you want, um like, give it, like see how you can do something with yourself, see what you're willing to give to receive
yeah.
what it is that you want. And
Fair enough.
I want to be healthy, I want to eat healthy food. Well,
Yeah.
if I can grow my own food,
Mm,
I don't know about being fully self-sustained. I think that I'm going to have to
yeah.
have at least one foot in the beast system, like, for a while. I
Yeah.
don't think that there's
It's
much
gradual.
leaving.
It's
But
incremental,
yes.
isn't it? You slowly work towards that goal.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
So we're back into the beast. Sorry. Tesco meal deal. What we saying? What's your go-to meal deal?
It's been so long. I don't know what I could eat in that anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe a banana. Can I get a banana in the meal deal?
Think so.
Okay.
Think so.
A bottle of water.
Yeah, you
Can I
can
get
get
a
a bottle
bottle
of
of water?
water. Yeah, yeah.
I don't eat bread anymore, so I couldn't get a sandwich. Maybe
Wow.
if and I don't. I tend to stay away from dairy, so I don't even. I think most of their wraps, hasn't that got? If I could find a wrap, even though the pita has got like gluten in it, I'm so boring. I'm so
That's all
boring when
right.
it comes to diet. Uh, a chicken wrap, which maybe would have maybe like mayonnaise in it, and
Yeah,
I'd maybe have to just suffer
yeah.
for it, and just, if there's nothing else, then that would be my meal deal. Maybe
Okay,
a cheeky Yorkie bar.
okay. So I haven't asked this before, but as a touring musician, how
Yeah.
do you sustain that level of diet and self-discipline and self-control when you're playing Bristol one night, Southampton one night? Do you know what I mean? You're not able to have that structure of, no, I'm not eating that. Do you see what I mean?
Let's see. So I think that having hot food is important. Not going to, and like, I would. So a lot of the places that we would stay at would have, say, if there was a place I could cook some meat, I'd be cooking. I'd cook. Or a microwave. I'd have sweet potatoes and tuna fish. So I'd carry a tin opener around with me, and and one of my only vices is barbecue sauce. So I'd have like just,
Hmm.
a crate of barbecue sauce on me. But yeah, tuna fish. And so a microwave to do sort of a jack of potatoes or something. And if I could cook up a bunch of chicken and potatoes, that was it for me really. Weatherspoons was pretty good. I mean, it's not the healthiest of meals, but if you like, I burn a lot of calories on stage, so yeah, I would, yeah, if we could get to like a good pub which would do sort of like quite wholesome food, then that was fine.
Yeah.
Never did fast food. Even like having, if a place had like a McDonald's or a Burger King, it was as good as there was no food there to eat. If
Mm.
people were like, there's a KFC, or like there's like like a kebab shop, like it was like it's as good as there being nothing here. So being prepared was
Yeah,
always important. Like the amount of Tupperware that I have is pretty insane.
I bet. We'll have to put that in the Instagram post when we promote this episode. Just
Yeah,
a picture of all your Tupperware.
yeah.
Awesome. So, do you have any questions for me? Anything you
Um,
want?
how how do you stay motivated?
I think it's just innate. I think if I stand still, I start to go a bit crazy. I have the most insane podcast schedule I think anyone on the internet has ever seen, and I genuinely challenge people to come up with a more insane schedule than me. I'm booked up now until mid-September, and one of my fears when I started this was falling off and running out of friends to use for content, to be completely blunt. And I've now managed to get YouTubers with like 300,000 subscribers. I've got Wheatus on next week, which is just beyond anything that I thought I would ever be able to achieve.
Congratulations, man. That's really
Thank
cool.
you. MC Lars hooked me up. What a legend. I've got the drummer of Devon Townsend booked in May,
Wicked.
which is it's just mad. But that's because I emailed them. That's because I knew that if I emailed enough people enough times and it became annoying, that I could maintain this constant level of consistency. And I really genuinely do believe that consistency is key in this game. And I need to pay my rent. So that's a good motivator. I think when you boil everything down, unfortunately, fear is quite an effective motivator, and it's that fear of becoming irrelevant and that fear of not being able to provide for people that I care about that motivates me. And I want to change that, but I'm just not quite sure how and when I will be able to do that. So yeah, to answer your question, it's just keeping on top of that wave and riding it, and preparation and luck.
I think I used to operate from a from a position of fear
Mm.
a lot, and I think fear can be useful, but fear, what my mentors always told me is FEAR, false evidence appearing real.
Yeah,
Like whatever fears that you have, I genuinely think that that's all stuff that you've made up.
yeah,
um,
yeah,
and if you operate from a place of if you operate from a place of love, if you operate from a place of passion, then the money comes, the inspiration comes, the contacts come, the inspiration, the inspirational contacts come, the people that will hook you up will come. Because if you're have you ever seen that episode of The Simpsons where when Marge is becomes a real estate saleswoman, and then
think so. Yeah,
and she's doing really well, and she just likes her job, she's sort of plodding through, and she's very honest about everything. And there's this other guy there who's like, booyah, I just sold the such and such property, da, da, da. And then there's other guy who's like, and he's like, this guy's like total confidence. And then you got another guy who's like, oh, Marge, I need some leads, Marge, how'd you do it? And he's operating from this place of
mm.
real fear. And like you clearly have talent in what you're doing here. You clearly like music, you clearly like what you're doing. And I just think if you could be less afraid of things not working and just focus on what is working, focus on your love of it and focus on your passion of it, that
Yeah.
passion is contagious. And
Yeah.
this is why you're getting people saying, hey dude, you really give a shit about what you're doing.
Mm.
In fact, I'm willing to give you a contact like Wheatus.
Yeah.
Wheatus, right? It was Wheatus,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
Wheatus.
Wheatus. Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
Wheatus
Same.
and Wheatus mixed up. But
Yeah.
I'll gladly give you that contact because I'm going to link you to my reputation now
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
if you go to them and they'll be like, why did you hook us up with this
Yeah.
lunatic? He didn't give a shit. He was just really afraid the whole time. But that you're clearly doing something right. So I really feel that if you can just work on that in your own mind maybe and really just do it
Yeah.
for the love of it and don't be afraid that there's not enough to go around. I believe that the universe, we do not live in a scarcity. We're not supposed to live in scarcity. We're supposed to live in abundance. Everyone's worried in this industry, especially that there's not enough to go around, and there is enough to go around. And a scarcity mentality will mean that you hold yourself back, that you get into fights with other people and you think that there's not enough, and there really truly is. So yeah, just you're doing a great job, man. Just keep going with it and enjoy it. Just have fun talking to people. I've had a great time tonight.
Awesome. Fantastic. I just have this image in my head of Wheatus talking to MC Lars after I interview them, and they're just like, this guy would not shut up about this supermarket called Tesco. He was constantly hammering it to us, and we have Walmart and Target over in the US, and every time we asked him a question he was saying maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And but yeah, I'll try my best. That's all I can do for all the people out there that watch this, view it, listen to it, and hopefully it helps you with your day. So yeah, awesome. Well, thank you very much, Dan. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Any equipment or any companies or anything like that you want to give a shout out to that help you on your musical journey?
No, actually, I mean, I do. I just want to say, if you're interested in anything that I do, please head over to danielleigh.co.uk. That's Daniel Leigh.co.uk, and everything that you need to find about me is there. I've got great merchandise there. All my records are available there, and I'm an independent artist. I'm doing everything with is myself and my manager and the bands I'm in. So I just say support what you love. Really, that's it. And it doesn't have to be me. If you want to support me, great. If you want to support other musicians that you love, please do, because unless you support them, the light that shines on them will go dark. So please do support what you love.
Fantastic. Awesome. Right. Well, I'm going to go prep for Wheatus.
Do it, man.
I'll see you all on the other side.
Amazing.
And
good luck with that.
Keep it Bedlam, and I'll speak to you all soon. Cheers.
Love, man. Stay frosty. Bye-bye.
Absolute Bedlam.
Archie Soul, as always, hooking me up with the beard wash from Duke Cannon. It's got a hint of oak barrel and Buffalo Trace Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskey. I know that's backwards, I'm sorry. Got some more Duke Cannon here. Same again, Buffalo Trace. This is a bar of soap, as I've mentioned numerous times now in guest episodes. That's a big boy. Bedlam 2022, once again, will get you 20% off everything on archiesoul.com. And for Christmas, I was very kindly given a £25 bottle of Anthony Sea Kelp Scrub, which is absolutely awesome, and I love it. So that's Archie Soul, www.archiesoul.com. And finally, we have made sure, as always, I love fragrances. If anyone knows me in real life, I love candles. I love scents. I love walking into a house and smelling like gingerbread or lemon and lime or strawberries. And I don't think that that's necessarily something that's appreciated by men. And I think it should be, because there's nothing wrong with it. It's always seen as very girly. However, I think that we should normalize it for men. So made sure.pigcartel.com. Bedlam 20, not Bedlam 2022, for 20% off your order. We've got wax melts to suit every emotion, every feeling. We've got Jamaican Me Crazy. This one, you can smell it through the wrapper. It is amazing. It's a really left field scent. It's quite a tropical, fruity smell. We've got lemon and lime. If the camera wants to focus, that would be fantastic. Lemon and lime. There we go. Smell that one as well. They're really powerful, but they're really like sort of punchy, and they are meant to be sort of chunked and sort of separated. You're not meant to put the whole thing in your burner. So yeah, there we go. Pink Flamingo as well is the last one I've got to hand. And we've got Avabath here. Avabath. So yeah, just mind-blowing. Everyone that I've ever sent any Made Sure stuff to has absolutely loved it. And I think that 2022 could be their year. Hopefully going to look at doing some events and some fairs when COVID finally jogs on. But yeah, I'm really, really proud of Hannah for making just these amazing snap bars, wax melts. We're looking potentially at getting burner kits, but that's a little bit way down the road. A lot of people say, you know, how do you use them? And it would be good to do like an all assembled thing. I think Hannah's looking at doing some spring scents soon. And then we'll look into doing it as a seasonal thing, you know, spring, summer, autumn, winter, Halloween, Christmas, that sort of stuff in the middle. But yeah, I absolutely love all my sponsors. I use all of the stuff myself, and I just try and be as genuine as possible with it, really. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I'm nearly at 30 subscribers, I think, and I'd like to get to 50 by the end of February if possible. I don't think that's an unachievable task. But yeah, thanks as always for listening, watching, and I hope that the guests that I've just had on has been interesting. So I will speak to you all very, very soon. Keep it Bedlam, and please support the show by supporting my sponsors. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Absolute Bedlam Podcast. Who? What? Where? Why?